Spring for me always feels like a season of restoring, renewing, or starting afresh. And in that, I am transitioning into my spring arc, where we shift from the slow, restorative energy of winter into a more vibrant, active, and intentional season of spring. It's about embracing habits that align with your body's natural rhythms. So, welcome to another healthy day in my life. Your loss. Spring is feeling so nostalgic for me. I am a 70s baby, so I grew up in the 80s. And I just love, like, when the nostalgia hits, it just hits, and I just love it. But anyway, welcome to the channel. I'm Yim. On this channel, I talk about all things intentional living, wellness, and living softly. If you are returning, thanks so much for coming back to see me. So spring for me is just not about looking better or nostalgia. It's about getting my entire life back in order. And so today's video, I really just kind of want to talk about the side of a reset that nobody really romanticizes, and that's career, routine, and money. And so a real reset for me, or leveling up, is not just about a fragrance or shoes or bags or a trip to Bali. It is truly about building out your system. So I picked up this book yesterday, Atomic Habits, and I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. I've heard all about it, but I already know this is exactly what I need for this season, because I'm not lacking motivation at all right now. I am really truly lacking in systems. Building a life that actually runs well, not just looks good, but something that is going to carry me through midlife. And so I am going to finish getting ready. I have me a Club Pilates class. This is my last month of Club Pilates, y'all. I have 3 more sessions that I need to use up, and then it is a wrap. So let's finish getting ready and chat some more. So, new wig, as you guys can see. It's getting so much warmer outside, and so I was like, okay, it is for sure bob season. And this is such a cute little bob, so easy to care for, so easy to style. I literally got it from Love Me Hair, popped it on my head months ago because I've been had it, and I keep it washed, conditioned, and to keep the curls just looking so good and moisturized, I'm using this Sacred moisture sealing lotion. But anyway, you know, your body butters and your fragrances and your skincare has to change when it's spring, right? Seriously, like, you should not be wearing the heavy winter fragrances in the summer and the spring. Those things need to switch up. And even if you have one for each season, just rotate it out. So I am wearing on my skin this Josie Moran whipped argan body butter. This stuff smells good. It looks good on my skin. Also loving the Fenty butter drop. I'm not wearing that today, but I've been switching back and forth between the two because they're very light, but yet keep me nice and moisturized. And then for my skincare, I'm keeping it simple: tone, treat, moisturize, and sunscreen. And the sunscreen that I usually do is the Shiseido, and this is a 50 plus SPF. So my fragrance for today is Miss Jackie. So the Forever Mood, the hard to get one. So I'm about to draw me up some of this Mott's, that's MOTS-C, It's a peptide. You take it fasted right before you go to the gym. So my husband like put me onto that, and it has been working beautifully for me before I go into the gym. So I'm going to draw me up some. You don't really need a lot. I don't necessarily talk about like dosages and all of that, my syringe, on this channel. And so you guys know, I have been doing a lot of grooming and preparing for midlife, because I just see that a lot of women miss the mark. And that's kind of like what woke me up and made me say, hey, you got to get it together. And so I see these women and they're either drowning from health issues or finances or loneliness. And, you know, this is a message for my 30 and my 40-year-olds. Be mindful of the 50 plus content that you consume, because a lot of it has piss in it. And I moved on from it a while ago. I noticed a lot of victimhood, and people that just never really want to take accountability for some of the life choices that they made, you know. And so whether it's struggling from, you know, menopause or being overweight or, you know, struggling to make ends meet, whatever the case may be, we all know that in life you make choices. And if you don't choose properly, you have to live with the circumstances of your choice. Point blank, period. So from your big sis, I am going to stop procrastinating in my own life. And I have never been one to wait for the right time or wait for a man to come save me. Men don't save you. Okay. Like, I know that there is this like myth out there that, you know, a man is going to just ride in on his black horse and save the day. But the reality is that men don't save you. You know, if you have a good man, they can add value to your life, but you have to save yourself. And you have to be very intentional and very cognizant and very diligent about how that looks, especially as you move into the phase of midlife where I am. And I'm not an expert, I'm not a guru. I just really truly try to speak from life experiences. And so again, be mindful of that content that you consume. So I am going to grab me a snack so that I can head on out to the gym.
It was just two lovers sitting in a gal, listening to blonde, falling for each other. Pink and orange sky, feeling super childish, and down the clever.
I just finished my Club Pilates 1.5 class. It was a really good session. I took it with a instructor. Her name is Christina, and she is really, really good. Honestly, taking her classes make me not want to give up my Club Pilates membership, but to be honest with you, they just don't have the availability that I need. I need to change really quick because I'm gonna run into the grocery store, so I brought me some pants. So I'm gonna throw those on. I probably could have done this inside of the studio. Okay. So, y'all, I have been doing a lot of thinking, and if I'm being honest, I don't think that I'm a vlog girly. I've tried to make it a part of my, I guess you could say, content creation journey or a part of my routine, but it just feels extremely forced. And when I look at my analytics, it's just not connecting the way that I want it to. And so I'm not doing that this spring. I am no longer forcing systems that do not work. So moving forward, my content is going to be a lot more about being intentional. So really more focused on like beauty, wellness, career systems, productivity, that type of thing. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there, so that you guys will know what's going to happen with my channel moving forward. So yeah, I'm gonna run into the store and I'll pick you guys up somewhere else in the vlog. Really quick, I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on what I meant by I am not a vlog girly. So I think that for me, I, number one, love structure. As I stated before, I'm never going to just pick up the camera and start talking unless I have thought very deeply about what I want to say, and so I'm totally overthinking it. I also feel like there's pieces of my life that people just don't want to see. I may be boring, I may not be entertaining. Like, there's a lot of things that go into having the zhush when it comes to vlogging, and I just don't have it. Also, I do realize that when you vlog, you're inviting people into your home, your car, your life in a major way. You're inviting them to meet your family and your friends. And, a lot of people are very raw and vulnerable, and they share everything about their life, and people love that. People want to see that. But I will be honest with you, I am more of a curated type of person. And so with that being said, that is why I feel like I am not the vlog type of girly. Also, too, I feel like people they like a bit of drama, and they like to hear about your story. How does your story connect to today? People want to get deep into your business. And also, too, people love trauma. I say this all the time. This is not a trauma-based channel. I do realize that I am an older woman. I have been through a lot of things, and people probably want to know, like, girl, have you ever been through a breakup? Have you ever, been married before? Did you and your husband have drama? Has he ever cheated on you? Those are things that I will never, ever share, just simply because I don't want to. But again, there is a part of, putting yourself out there and being vulnerable that people absolutely love. But there is a content creator. I cannot think of her name. I love her content. It is so luxury. It is so curated. It is so aesthetically pleasing. And the gist of her video was like, why is it that Black women can't exist in a space that is very much luxury, very much aesthetically pleasing, and very much soft? Like,
So I've always found it a bit unsettling that a lot of people tend to only value authenticity in creators when we show up at our most vulnerable. You have to always be struggling or oversharing your innermost vulnerabilities to be deemed authentic. You can't show up on the internet as your best self. That's not real. I share a meal or a recipe. You're fat. There's no way you actually eat those vegetables. Don't have a clean house. Oh, baby, your house cannot be that clean all the time. That one is real special to me because why do you want to see my house dirty, Dorinda? Why do you need to know if I always fold my laundry right after? I don't. But why do you need to know that, Dorinda? Now, I'm not saying you don't have valid reasons for being wary of a lot of people on the internet. I have a lot of your faith influencers blocked for a multitude of reasons. What I am saying is you do not need to see me at my weakest in order to see me. So enjoy the vibes, babe, and I'm going to keep the rest of my shit for my therapist. Okay, bye.
Every Black woman isn't having a trauma response. Every Black woman isn't poor. Every Black woman isn't unhappy. There are some Black women out there existing, being happy and loving themselves. And I would say that is me. And I'm not saying that people don't want to see that too. Like, people root for you either way. People are going to gravitate towards what they like. But again, I just feel like my life isn't interesting enough for people to want to follow along. With that being said, there is a vlogger that I have been loving lately. She is real big on these YouTube streets. Her name is Peyton Charles. And you guys, you know, the 100 of you that are going to watch, going to be like, girl, bye. You know, who you think you are to be talking about Peyton Charles? I was introduced to Peyton by a troll. So she has someone that trolls her, and she was talking about her in a very negative way, and it made me, you know, want to know more about her. And so I went to her channel, and the video that I was introduced to, she was sharing a very raw and real moment of her at the graveside with her baby boy, and brother was you know, at the graveside visiting his twin. And it was just so raw and vulnerable, and I fell in love with her at that moment. And I can totally tell that she is one of those that keeps it real, you know, shares her life, but the way that she executes it, it's beautifully done, if that's a way to say keeping it real. Like, I don't feel like, you know, anything about her is scripted. I do feel like she has the zhuzh. She's figured out the formula of curating and being raw and uncut. And again, I just love her content. So if y'all ain't following Peyton Charles, y'all need to be following her ASAP. Y'all, get into this mug. Isn't it just so cute and whimsical and spring? Like, I am just loving this little 3D art on this mug. I got this at Home Goods, so I didn't spend a lot of money on it, maybe like $5.99 or so. So it was totally in the budget, but I could not pass it up because it is screaming spring season. But anyway, before I close out the vlog, I want to circle back to what I mentioned earlier, and that is for this spring arc, I am going to be digging into this book, Atomic Habits. And I did kind of dig into it a little bit today when I was, after I got home and, took a quick shower. I dug into it just a little bit, but I do kind of want to talk about like these tiny changes or what my spring arc pillars are going to be. So just like the winter arc, we're going to have our pillars, and I'm going to be focusing still on, like fitness, spiritual stuff, but we've mastered that by now. So we're going to be working on finances, career, and systems. And so this is not a mood board. This is really going to be us evolving and manifesting true softness, sovereignty, and ease. And I also want to just say something really quick, because I feel like there is always a part that's missing when we talk about habits and structure. I believe in manifestation, and I don't mean that in like a fluffy type of way. I mean that seriously in a clear way about what you want. So I mean really being clear about that, seeing it in detail, believing that it's actually available to you, because you can say you want something, like say you want a new job, but do you know what that job looks like? How do you feel doing that job? How do you show up in that job? How do you persevere when things get tough in that job? I think sometimes people hear manifestation and they go to the extreme end. But for me, it's not any different than saying I'm praying for something. It's intention, it's belief, and it's alignment. And I do believe that faith without works is dead. And so I think habits or manifesting is the works part. So the gist of the Atomic Habits is, how your daily habits shape your identity. And in building like tiny, what they say, daily atomic habits, you can design a life that works for you and that doesn't necessarily work against you. And so I also too want y'all to drop a comment if you want me to if you want to go through the book together and maybe have weekly check-ins about, read a couple of chapters. Maybe we could structure something. Let me know in the comment section. But the first pillar that I'm working on is time management. And so I realize that I don't need more hours in a day. I need to work with the natural rhythms of life, of the day, of the night. And in scanning the book, I see that it touches on habit stacking. And one thing that I'm realizing is that I don't actually need to manage my time better per se, is that I need to manage my habits better. Because I just feel like when your habits are in place, your time really starts to organize itself. And that's what I'm realizing with like going back into the office. And I talked about that in my last vlog. It's how it's making me have more structure. So the book doesn't really talk about like time blocking directly, at least I don't think so. But it actually just kind of explains why most people fail at it, because you can plan the day all you want to, but if you don't have those habits to follow through, then that plan doesn't mean anything. And so that is why I'm so attracted to this book for sure. And it is a #1 New York Times bestseller. And this book was not cheap. So secondly, career. So the second pillar is career. And when I say I'm getting serious about my career, I want to be very clear about what that actually looks like for me. And so I've been thinking about getting another HR certification. I already have 2. Thinking about getting the senior HR, SHRM HR certification, because I understand at the level that I want to operate, and that is potentially C-suite, potentially executive. And I know I said in another video that I wasn't about climbing, but I'm not going to stifle my growth and say never. I'm realizing that having a vision matters, having visibility matters. So that's going to mean putting myself out there more, whether it's posting on LinkedIn, networking, attending conference, not just saying I want more opportunities, but actually positioning myself for those opportunities so they can actually find me. And I think this is a habit that I need to start to form. I just feel like you can't ask for more if you're not building those habits and you're staying invisible. And the same thing applies when it comes to money. I'm realizing that in that money pillar, a part of having a soft life is actually understanding your money and not just spending it, not being caught up in consumerism, but managing it. So for me, that looks like learning more about things in terms of high interest, how to pay down your high interest credit cards properly, how to build an emergency fund, just being more aware of budgeting, what's coming in, what's going out. That's why I just don't want to vlog. A lot of vloggers just consumer heavy, and I can't get into that anymore. So when I think about this season, it's not just about what I want my life to look like. It's about building the habits that support that life. So again, those 3 pillars: my career, my finances, and my systems. Because you don't just manifest what you want. You manifest what your life is structured to receive, if that makes sense. And so I have a philosophy that I came up with for this spring. It is vision, identity, and habits. Vision, I want more. Identity, I'm becoming someone who can hold more. And I'm doing the things that align with that. So I'm so excited for what is to come for us. Lock in with me, if you will. Let me know in the comments what's one thing you say you want, but your current habits don't support yet. Thank you guys so much for spending the day with me. I will see you guys in another one. Have a good day. Bye.